guys, it's Abby with the Bead Place and beadplace.net, and today I'm going to show you how to make these really fun stackable bangles out of 12 gauge aluminum wire. So they have this really neat hidden heart pattern that only looks like a heart when you look close. You can see how it looks like 3 hearts right in a row. And you can add charms and wear a fun stack. I'm working with 12 gauge aluminum wire. I'm going to cut a length of wire that is about 16 inches long. My favorite cutter to use when working with aluminum wire in thick gauges is a memory wire cutter because it creates a flush edge on the wire that you don't have to trim down. So the first thing that we're going to do is bend a right angle in the wire. I'm going to use my chain nose pliers to do that. I'm going to find the center and bend it into an L shape, just like this. Now that we have a right angle, we're going to form the top of the heart. So I like to take my round nose pliers and grab right here so that I'm going to just grab right above where that little angle is. So I'm going to take the wire and bend it around, down, underneath, and straight out to the other side so that the wires are parallel like this. So when I take it out, it looks like this. So the little lowercase cursive E loop is above where the little angle is. So now I'm going to turn this around this way and do the same thing on this side. So grab right where it was before, bend the wire up around the top and down and underneath. So you can see how we're kind of forming almost what looks like a pretzel, like that. So you can straighten it out with your hands if you'd like, or use the pliers. I like to kind of get all my wraps done first and then make them a little bit more even in size. So now that we have our first heart, what we're going to do is form the angle for the bottom of the second heart. So I will take my chain nose pliers, the one with the flat surface to the inside, and just grab right, grab right there so you can form an angle that's about the same size. See how the end of my pliers here is ending almost at the same spot, so that when I bend this up, that's going to be the same size angle as what's on the heart before it. So then again, grab with the round nose pliers, bend the wire up, around, and down. And so now we have 2 hearts. You can see that we don't need to make 2 loops to make 2 hearts because we're using the loop from the previous heart. You can use your chain nose pliers to sharpen the angles a little bit on the bottom of the heart if you'd like, or not, totally up to you. So now we're going to turn this around, make another heart on this side. So again, take your chain nose pliers, bend the wire up to create that little angle at the bottom, the point of the heart. Take your round nose pliers, grab in, go up around the top and down. And we have 3 hearts. So I like to then take my fingers and just kind of press this into shape. Bring these tail ends straight out and make any adjustments that you need to. Now we're going to turn this into a bangle by wrapping it around a mandrel. I have some plastic cups here that I've cut the lid off of. This is just an easy way to get a bangle size appropriately to your wrist. You can put your hand through the bangle and mark, or put your hand through the mandrel, mark with a Sharpie where your knuckles stop, and then you'll know that that's exactly where you need to wrap the wire around. So I'm going to place this right on the cup and bring my tail ends around so that they overlap, just like that. So I'm going to make it just a hair smaller for my tiny hand. And you can have your wraps perfectly in the back. I like to have them offset a little bit. But we are going to then create this fun little almost barbed wire look with the wire. So how I do that is I grab right here, right where they overlap, and just take one side, twist it around 2 to 3 times, just like that. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So just leave a little bit of a space here, just enough for your fingers. And 1, 2, 3. And try to keep your wraps tight. If you can't, no big deal, it'll look cute no matter what. So then what I like to do is use my memory wire cutter and trim as close as I possibly can. If you don't have a memory wire cutter, you could definitely use just your regular flush cutter. Trim really close, totally up to you. And then if you happen to have a nylon jaw pliers, you could use that to press the ends in. I'll show you a trick on how to get a really professional looking finish. All right, so I have trimmed the tail ends and I've made sure that they are facing outwards rather than inwards. Even if you have smooth cuts, you always want to make sure that your cuts of wire are on the outside of the bracelet rather than the inside, so that if it happens to scrape against your skin, there is no damage to be done. So we have a nylon jaw pliers here. You could use your regular chain nose pliers if you don't have a nylon jaw pliers, but this just kind of protects the coating on the wire. We're going to use this to just smush the tail ends down. So I just use this to kind of tighten my coils, and the nylon jaw on the pliers really kind of saves the wire from the plating coming off. So you can see at the end here how, since this is aluminum wire that's been coated, there is the visible aluminum at my cut marks. I'm going to take a Sharpie, just a black Sharpie marker, and just color right on the end there so that the wire looks like it's black all the way through. So this is a fun tip if you happen to have any tool marks on your work, like maybe your tool slipped when you were doing the hearts in the front. You could just take the Sharpie and just color over any parts of the aluminum that are visible. So there we have it. Then what you can do is add charms to your heart's desire. Make a ton more and wear them as a stack. So I like to add little initials, but my favorite thing to do is add these little crystal heart charms, and I will show you how to do that. In order to add just a simple charm to the bangle, we're going to use a jump ring. I have a 5mm inner diameter jump ring here that's 16 gauge. I'm going to hold the break of the jump ring at 12 o'clock. I'm going to take 1 pliers in sideways and 1 pliers in long ways and open it in this direction. So anytime we're opening and closing jump rings, we're always going to open it in this direction and never this direction. So once you have it opened, you can slide the charm in, put it right onto one of your bangles, and close it. Easy as that. So you just close it in this direction here. And you're done. So in order to wrap a little charm on that has a hole at the top, like this one, it gets a little bit more complicated. I have a piece of 26 gauge wire here. This is about 6 inches. I'm going to find the center and thread the heart through to the middle. Now that the heart is in the middle of the wire, you're going to cross the wires so that they're overlapping. And then just twist the 2 wires together. Once you have the wires twisted together into one, we are going to make a loop at the top. So I like to start my loops by grabbing right at the top of the wire with my chain nose pliers and bending the wire down into a right angle. So it looks like this. Then grab your round nose pliers, and we're going to use this as our mandrel to create the size loop that we want. So just make sure that it is wide enough to fit over your bangle. So about middle of the pliers is where I like to do it. So bend the wire up around the top and down so that it looks like this. And then what you can do is continue to form that into a loop, just like that, and you can hook it onto the bangle. And then in order to secure it, we are going to take the tail end of that loop and wrap it down around the neck a few times. So 1, 2, 3. So just fill in that space right between the loop and the heart. Then you can use your flush cutter to trim the tail end off. So the next step is to make a ton more. You can find all the materials that we used today on www.beadplace.net. There will be links in the description below. If you enjoyed watching this video, please give it a thumbs up. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram. Again, links will be down below. And subscribe if you'd like to see more.